Hey guys, it's me Chocobo, and
LMAO, you're almost maxed and your best in slot magic cape is an RD cloak 4. Stop being such a huge
the honest truth is, even my RD cloak in its elite form sucks compared to the Mage Arena 2 capes. I've been avoiding this cape because it requires me to go into deep wilderness areas that are multi-combat, and if I were to die to another player for my hardcore status so close to maxing, not only would I be tied for the highest total non-maxed hardcore death, but also it would just be a historically tragic ending to this series. But what's the point of being a hardcore if you don't have the best and coolest stuff? So let's go get that cape. Let's start with a plan. Step 1. Complete the Mage Arena mini-quest. This will require me to venture into 55 Wilderness and defeat the Master of the Mage Arena, Collodion. Upon defeating him, I will then gain access to the Guthix, Zamorak, and Saradomin staves, which are required to cast the spells Claws of Guthix, Flames of Zamorak, and Saradomin Strike. Step 2. Find the time and day RuneScape has the least amount of players online. This will minimize my chances of running into a PKer or team of PKers in deep wilderness multi-combat zones. Running into a team of players with the intention of killing anyone they encounter would almost certainly lead to the loss of my hardcore status. On top of this, I will not be able to utilize teleportation spells because I will be above 30 wilderness for the duration of the Mage Arena 2 challenge. This leads me to step 3, preparing for the worst. Although I will be taking the maximum precautions to avoid chance encounters with PKers, I can never be 100% certain that I will not be attacked. I will need to devise a plan of what to do should the worst possible scenario unfold. After all these preparations have been made, it's time. Chapter 1, the Mage Arena. So I decided to go with this setup as the tankiest Tribrid setup. It basically allows me to have a lot of magical defense while still having high melee and high range. Varax is so that I do not get a negative bonus in mage defense, whereas something like Durax, which has more melee and range defense, would actually give me a lot less magic defense. I don't have a Carol's Top, which actually hurts me pretty badly, but we're gonna go with this anyways. You may have noticed that I had some odd items in my inventory, specifically the 200k coins as well as the lockpick. On screen now is the path I plan on taking from the Edgeville lever, which will teleport me to 50 wild, to the Mage Bank. If, however, I do run into PKers along the ways, I have some preparations with these items that'll allow me to escape. Escape route number 1, Axe Hut, as seen circled in green here. Now, Axe Hut has a requirement of a lockpick to actually get inside of the building. And also, it has a bunch of aggressive monsters that will attack anybody who is not de-aggroed there for at least 15 minutes. Therefore, it will be pretty easy to get a box on an axe unless there are around 10 to 15 players actually actively killing those. And I should be able to get an X-Log and or just box one until they give up. Now, right south of the Axe Hut is the Wilderness Resource Area, and this is something that they added specifically to Old School, and essentially you need to pay some coins to get inside this arena, and a lot of PKers may not have the Elite Diary to make it free, so if there's only 1 or 2 PKers, you can kind of just flinch the door and eventually get the log out. Last but not least, if I get full tele-blocked in front of the Mage Bank lever, I will head west to the Pirates' Hideout, which has a bunch of aggressive pirates inside of it and also requires that same lockpick that I'd be using at the Axe Hut. Essentially, it's like an Axe Hut, but to the west, so it's pretty safe, and unless they have a lot of players and or they are de-aggroed inside the Pirates' Hut, I won't have to worry too much about that. So I went ahead and banked all of my escape routes, and then also switched up my gear a bit, because once you make it into Mage Bank, you don't really need those escape routes. One of the reasons for that is while doing Mage Arena 1, the first time you have to fight Collodion, he actually teleports you out to the Mage Arena, and then he'll teleport you back into the bank. So I didn't really need that, and I just was like, well, I might as well bring some extra restores, and I also needed to get a staff just to autocast because I'm lazy. So after doing this, you can actually get PK'd in here while unlocking the spells, because you need to cast the spells 100 times on the followers, but I have a trick up my sleeve for that as well. Also, I had one friend scouting the doorway, as you saw there, just in case there, for some reason, happened to be a team around. But I didn't expect there to be anybody around at this time, so I was pretty confident in doing Mage Arena 1. After killing Collodion, I went ahead and picked up all of the capes as well as their respective god staves, and now I'm going to go ahead and head back into the arena one last time to go ahead and unlock all of the spells so I can kill the Mage Arena 2 demons. One of the requirements to use the god spells is to first use the spell 100 times on battle mages within the Mage Arena. So I went ahead and got to a negative 65 mage bonus so that I would always splash on the battle mages. That way, if I happen to have a random person log in dressed up as a Saradomin mage, I would never have to worry about accidentally skulling. This is something that Torvesta did in multiple videos now, and it's actually pretty funny to watch, so I would definitely recommend watching it, but as a hardcore Ironman, I would not like to worry about that, so I'm just going to go ahead and splash on the Saradomin Mage for all 3 spells, and coming up here I should have the Saradomin spell unlocked. Now that Mage Arena 1 is done, it's time to discover the best time to attempt the Mage Arena 2. Chapter 2, Research. I was looking up the old school RuneScape player count data, and I managed to find a website that actually tracks the data of the total amount of players on old school every hour for the last 6 years. And it's pretty apparent that the least active times of RuneScape are 9 AM GMT to 10 AM GMT, which is around 1 AM to 2 AM for me. And this is on Mondays and Tuesdays. It is the absolute most dead. So now that I have an idea of when the best time is to complete Mage Arena 2, I need to come up with a strategy of how to escape PKers in these deep multi-wilderness combat zones. Chapter 3, The Sacrificial Lamb. So during the initial stages of my hardcore Ironman, my friend Lugata actually went ahead and made this picture as kind of like a joke on my plan for Mage Arena 2. And it was actually a pretty good idea. The truth was, having 10 to 15 players just in the wilderness, especially in anywhere but Rev Caves, is pretty safe now. Unfortunately, since I'm doing this at a dead zone time, the chances of me finding enough players to actually do this that I trust is slim to none. So I went ahead and decided on a different strategy. This I call the Sacrificial Lamb strategy. So the idea is I have 1 to 2 players that have more valuable gear than I do, that are skulled, with max mage bonus as possible. In the event of running into a PK team, it is more likely that I will be left to run away because the people I have are in more valuable gear and are also mages, and in multi-PKing you usually attack the mages first. So this will give me a window to run the opposite way and or log out, and hopefully it's enough. However, if it is a big enough team and or they know I'm a hardcore Ironman, I'm still toast. That's enough preparation. Now it's time to enter Chapter 4, completing the Mage Arena 2. The Mage Arena 2 can essentially be thought of as a hot and cold game in deep wilderness. You have this item called an enchanted symbol, which you need to click on and take some damage. and it'll tell you whether you are getting closer to the target spot or farther away. What I mean by target locations are there are actually 14 different spots where each demon can spawn, so I'm gonna have to track each one down, and each time you use the locator you actually do take damage, so I'm gonna have to make sure I have lots of brews, and before even getting to the demons, which can actually hurt pretty hard, I want to make sure I have a high amount of brews just in case I do run into a team. I decided to bring some anglerfish as well as a phoenix necklace just as a precaution against PKers. I wanted to have some combo food just in case, and also the phoenix necklace will help me tank a spear spec. So it's not obviously going to make me unkillable, but it should help if I do happen to run into players. Also, I could also eat an anglerfish outside of PvP combat and go up to a higher health versus the actual demons. So this seems to be the most efficient setup. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't bring my coins and lockpick, I figured that getting through singles would be the easy part of this because I had 2 players pretty much scouting that were protecting me. And so if I did happen to run into a PKer, before their whole team could log in, I would have my friends attack them and then I would just log out. So I was only really concerned about multi. I was not able to find exactly where the Sarah demon spawned, so I made the decision that I wanted to bank. Unfortunately, I did not have a glory or a royal seed pod on me, so I was not able to teleport from 20 to 30 wild at all, and I'd have to home telly whenever I got to 20. The big mistake was that there would be a path that I would cross where PKers would teleport into the Corp Cave and run to Venenatus. On top of this, I told my friends to glory down, and so I was walking through multi without a teleport on me through a PK hotspot. After preparing this much, I definitely didn't want to die simply to forgetting a teleport in the wilderness. Therefore, I needed to be ready to log out quickly, or else this sound would end up being the intro to my video.
Bye.
That was easy.
Sarah demon down, let's go find and kill the Zammy one now. One to go and I know he's here, so let's cue up some cool music. And here we go. The 3 items needed for the imbued God Cape, which is my very best in slot Mage Cape. Probably will be forever, because there ain't a better one yet, so feels really good to get this out of the way. Gonna go ahead and get that Zammy one, just in case I ever do Mage Bandos. If I ever get an Ancestral Top, that is a possibility, but you know, no luck in raids in the last like 40 or so. So, you know, we'll go back to those soon. But let's go ahead and use the cape on him here and get our Zami imbued cape. Oh, it feels so good. Alright, I'll make a deal with you guys. If I get to 1,000 subscribers before I hit 2250 total, I will do Dragon Slayer 2 before I max, and that is a promise. Also, if I die doing it, it's on all of you. Just wanted to give a huge thank you to Douglas and Carlton for helping me complete this. Without them, it definitely wouldn't have been possible. Also, a big shout out to some people I know would have helped if they had been up. Rook, Scott, Shane, Omni, Lou, Draki, Vistora. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple in there, but thank you again. You guys are awesome, and that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Expect a progress video in a little bit. I know it's been taking a while to make this one, but it does take a long time to get clips now because I'm on the last stages of rune crafting and that takes forever, so expect one of those very soon. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of your week.